All right. Uh, uh, uh. Uh, uh, uh. All right. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
All right. Good. Um, so I'm gonna just do this little thing. Image. To image. Image. Oh my god, there's so many things happening at once that I'm kind of confused. But I think we're gonna do that. All right. The first album I'm gonna be talking about is Earl Sweatshirt's Live, Laugh, Love. Live, Laugh, Love is a very good album, first off, but it's kind of flawed. He's uh, he's doing things that he's been known for like what 8 years at this point. Um, on this album, he's like stripping things back to their barest of necessities. It's like I don't know, just basically saying stuff because it feels good. It feels cathartic. He's in his bag, you could say, and it's pretty much him going on about his life and what he's went through for 24 minutes. This is a very short album, and most of these songs are like very good. Yeah, they're short, they're kind of half-assed. Live probably didn't need to be make the cut like at all. However, I think this is a very good album from him. Everyone should most likely listen to it because it's one of the most captivating and strangely catchy albums of the entire year, especially in the abstract hip hop field. And yeah, that's it. That's pretty much how I feel about it. Anyone wants to say their piece about this album?
For this album, I gave it a 70 and wrote, "This is the most fun I've had listening to an album in 2025." That's all.
All right. Um, uh, Next album, I would. Uh, oops. Didn't do that. Just yeah. Next album I will talk about is Hannah Frances, Nested in Tangles. This is the most beautiful and transcendental folk album of the year, pretty much. It's got elements of chamber pop and singer-songwriter music woven in very well into the overall aesthetic of this album. It's just like 40 minutes, not too long, and I think it's used well, how to say the runtime is used very well across this album's track list. Some songs are pretty long, while others are just like 2 minutes, but most of them feel very captivating, very touching at their core, I would say. And yeah, as an entire project, it's very cohesive and like um, immaculately, immaculately produced as well. I think, some songs like the opening track are kind of rough around the edges, you could say, because the vocal effects on her voice are just distracting more than anything else. But I think it's still a very well done album with a lot of gratifying songs on it, and everyone should most likely listen to it. That's what I have to say about it. Has anyone here heard this?
I heard it, no.
All right, and that's that. Next album I would like to talk about is HO9909. Horror is basically what they're called. And their new album, Tomorrow We Escape, is one of the most batshit insane albums of the entire year. It's it's combining elements of industrial rock, rap rock, um, alternative metal, hardcore punk. Like it's very messy. It's very all over. It's very all over the place, you could say. But man, is it like electrifying as hell. And um, it's actually like thought-provoking as well. Despite how aggressive and over the top it becomes, it's still very like thought-provoking at its core. And yeah, it's pretty short, 35 minutes. A lot of good features on here. Pink Sifu, Chelsea Wolfe, Greg Puciato, who is mainly known for being the singer of the Dillinger Escape Plan. He makes an appearance on here. And yeah, this is one of the best and most explosive albums in the metal field, I would say. Definitely worth checking out if you're into that kind of stuff. Has anyone here heard this? I'm guessing not. And yeah, I'm just gonna. All right. Next album I would like to talk about is Horse Girls Phonetics On and On. Just gonna need to load. Okay, there it is. Um, this isn't one of the most bombastic albums of the year, unlike the previous album. This is a very chill, pleasant, kinda melodic even album. Um, it's got a pretty shy demeanor to it, I would say. Um, but it doesn't feel listless or like it's doing just the bare minimum or anything like that. It's got everything it needs to be. No, wait. It has everything it needs to in order to sound catchy and entrancing throughout. It's just 37 minutes. There's a lot of good songs on this track list. Rock City in twos, even the lowest rated track here, is pretty fun. And yeah, I would say this is one of the most touching albums in the indie rock and indie pop field that dropped in 2025. I wouldn't say it's like memorable, like profoundly memorable by the end, but for what it is, it's still really enjoyable and I very entrancing in a way. Has anyone here heard this?
I have not, no.
All right. Mm-mm-mm. All right. Next album is gonna be a banger. The Weeknd, Hurry Up Tomorrow. This was a pretty polarizing album this year. There were some people that gave it pretty mixed reviews that rose to the top in a way. I believe Chaz gave it like, yeah, 69. That's like one of the most popular reviews of the entire year. But with that said, I think it's a very good album. Not only is there like a lot of good songs in this track list, many of which feature some of the best music Abel has ever recorded, in my opinion. Um, but it's also pretty consistent. Um, like more consistent than the stuff he was releasing 10 years ago. Um, it's well produced, it's really conceptual as well, because a lot of the lyrics are dealing in heartbreak and like kind of growing old, I think. I don't know, maybe like outgrowing the fame he's achieved since the beginning of his career. That's how I would describe it. And yeah, there's a lot of good songs here, like I said. Wake Me Up, Cry For Me, Sao Paulo is pretty fun, Baptized in Fear, Opening Night, no, not Opening Night, Open Hearts. That's like the best song on here, Open Hearts. And yeah, a lot of good songs after that. Some of them, like Drive, I could take or leave, but yeah, this is a very well-rounded album with a lot of good songs on here. Maybe not well-rounded, but like consistently enjoyable. That's how I would describe it. Uh, has anyone here heard this album? I think a few people have.
Yeah.
All right, but what did you think about it? You could say like a few sentences or whatever.
Um, hmm. I mean, I guess I loved it. I'm trying to think of something to say.
All right, all right.
It's all right. I, I guess it has some of his most emotional songs, like the closing track is just it's just amazing. I especially love the way that it transitions from to the first song on his first mixtape.
Oh yeah, I saw that transition on Twitter. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a great album. I wish it was more successful in terms of like the singles.
Yeah, I
I
get
mean,
you.
yeah, I mean I know Timeless was a big hit, but that was only one song.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of hit potential in these songs. Um, I think like one of the songs that no, like one of the singles that released before this album, and it was one of the more successful ones. Was like what was
Yeah,
it?
Dancing in the Flames, I think.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I was thinking of. It's pretty good. Not my favorite
Yeah.
he's ever done, but yeah. What were we gonna say?
I wasn't gonna say anything else.
Oh, all right, all right. Uh, so yeah, that's all I have to say about this album. It's one of the best alt R&B albums of the year. Definitely worth checking out if you're into uh, just the stuff that The Weeknd has influenced, as well as his solo stuff that he's dropped before this. Next up, Don't Tap the Glass. Oh man, this was something else. Um, just by the genre tags here, you can definitely tell Tyler is just throwing everything at the wall but the kitchen sink. But it ends up being so fun. Um, there's just 10 songs in this track list, but nearly all of them slap. Um, he's just going crazy with his vocals, with the tunes, with the instrumentals. Like, this is kind of a mind-blowing album in a lot of ways, even though it's just like kind of a mixtape masquerading as an album. Because it's not like it's not professionally produced or written at points. He's just doing whatever he wants in the studio and it just somehow works. And it's fun. It's a very fun album. Um, so yeah, a lot of good songs here. My accent is coming through. Lot of good songs here. Big Paw, Sugar Ray on My Tongue, Sucker Free. Everything after that is pretty good. And yeah, there's nothing else to say. This is just a very consistently enjoyable and punchy album from Tyler the Creator. Just a year after he's dropped one of his most popular and widely accessible albums ever with Chromacopia, he drops this and it's just as good in some ways. Do you guys have anything to say about it?
I don't know.
Not really, other than it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would say so. It's
Yeah.
it's
The
yeah.
fact
What?
he released it like not even a year after Chromacopia release, just barely.
Yeah, it's like the 3/4 of a year at best. Yeah. Definitely worth checking out. Uh, two, two, two. 44. What was
Let's
that?
get encouraged by the fact that people aren't speaking up. People have been typing in the chat. If you haven't seen, like some of us, we're just muted.
Oh, no, I didn't see that. I had it closed for now. Thanks for telling me.
You're welcome. Oh, I wrote, if you could, if there's anything interesting about the lyricism of the albums and you think it's worth mentioning, it would be nice if you did as well, because, you know, some of us, myself included, would love to hear that.
What was that again? I didn't hear it all the way through.
Oh, sorry. Lyricism for the albums. If you think it's worth mentioning, you could also say so, because you know, as you can see, like we haven't listened to those albums. We're here for recommendations, so it's
All right.
just yeah. Thank you.
Okay. I think I can recall almost everything about each of the albums I'm talking about, so it's not really a big deal. Next up is Bad Bunny's Debbie Tirar Mas Photos, which dropped literally 5 days into 2025. It was one of the most successful albums of the year, that's for sure. And at first, I wasn't entirely convinced by it. I'm gonna admit that. A very long album. There's 17 songs on here. Some of them are kind of boring and kind of predictable for Bad Bunny. He's this massive reggaeton and Latin pop singer slash rapper. He's more of a singer. and he's been making hour-long albums for like 7, 8 years at this point. And this, coming back to it, is actually a very good album with a lot of terrific songs here. Like the opening New of All uh, is so goddamn infectious. It puts a smile on my face every time I put it on. And this includes most of the songs to follow. Bile Inolvidable, the third song here. It has a lot of phases and instrumental changes that are actually pretty psychedelic and entrancing in a way that you would want out of like a Travis Scott song or something, but like in a Latin pop aesthetic. And it's actually very interesting. Um, in terms of lyricism, there's a bit of a language barrier. I didn't read into each of the songs here when I was listening through to the album the last time I did. But from what I can recall, there's a lot of retrospective, touching, and kind of personal musings on his upbringing. And a few songs like El Club and Turista reflect on the culture he grew up in, I guess you can say. And yeah, a lot of songs here revolve around those topics. I don't remember what each of them delves into, but that's the gist of it. Did you guys hear this album?
I did not.
Yeah, I think it's worth checking out, just for the highlights. Not every song slaps, like Velda. That one's pretty boring, admittingly. But most of these are actually fun, infectious, and very well produced. So, yeah, worth checking out for sure. Next up, uh, The Hives. The Hives forever. Forever the Hives. This band has been around for ages, really since the late 90s, and they've dropped a lot of albums that, not a lot, just like a handful of albums that got mainstream attention and then washed out with the tides of time like almost immediately, but are still very enjoyable in retrospect. They are this garage rock, garage punk rock band from Sweden who have a very straightforward take on these genres. Not super technical, not super thought-provoking or anything like that. They just do their thing, they do it as best they can, and they just dip out, which also includes their new album. And as you can see from the user score, it's not like one of the most beloved albums of the year or anything. It just like barely reached the green status because of their fans and stuff. But I think it's like one of the most cathartic and thrilling albums, especially in the rock field from 2025. Looking at the track list, there's like a lot of exciting, just blood pumping songs on here that are really worth checking out. Enough is Enough, Hooray Hooray Hooray, Bad Call, Paint a Picture, OCD OD, Legalized Living, like that run of tracks is insane. A few songs after the interlude are kind of okay, like Born a Rebel and Path of Most Resistance, but Roll Out the Red Carpet and the title track are still like mind blowing to me. Because like they're just like so perfect, just so perfectly made in a lot of ways, and just make me dance my ass off every time I put this album on. That's it. That's all I have to say. Uh, did you guys hear this album? I'm gonna assume no, because it's not like one of the most widely discussed albums of the year, but I think it's like definitely worth checking out if you're into some fast, witty, and electrifying rock music in this style, I would say. All right, next up, Agriculture, the Spiritual Sound. Man, this was some insane stuff. As you can see from the genre tags, black gaze, post-black metal, avant-garde metal, noise rock, post-hardcore, like what the hell is this? Well, I'm gonna tell ya, this is one of the most creative and just vicious metal albums of the entire year. A lot of the songs on this thing are like very electrifying and unhinged at their core, but they're like still really well made. Um, Dan's Love Song is a strange, like slowcore and indie rock song that doesn't fit in the track list, surrounded by songs that are like insanely vicious. Bodhi Harma, oh, what a song! God damn. But yeah, this thing is just like 10 songs, 43 minutes, straight to the point, um, very memorable, and definitely a refreshing batch of songs for anyone looking to get into black metal and post-hardcore and just metal in general. Did you guys hear this album? Probably not.
Fortunately, no.
No, yeah. All right. Next up. All right. Well, this was a fun one. Shite. Dan Brown, Stardust. This this album cycle was very fun. He just dropped 2 singles, waited for the album to come out, and the rest is history. If you guys don't already know, Danny Brown is abstract, hardcore hip hop type of rapper who really does whatever the hell he wants and just gets away with it because his ideas are so good and evocative a lot of the time. Atrocity Exhibition and XXX are bona fide classics for sure. Scaring the Hose will probably become one in the future. And Stardust isn't as beloved as those albums. However, I think it's very consistent in its execution and in the quality of the features. There's a lot of features on this album. Like every song except for Lift You Up, has a feature on it, and most of them are very good. And then he gets personal on a lot of his songs. He talks about his sobriety, his struggles with alcoholism and addiction. It's pretty heavy stuff, but he's able to put it in a way that's inspirational and very catchy at the same time. He takes a lot of risks on this album for sure. The song 1999 fries my brain every time I listen to it. It's like so harsh and in your face that you can easily get like scared listening to it. It's just that it's just that bombastic, I guess I can say. Uh, Most of these songs are like anywhere between 2 and 4 minutes, but one of the last ones, the end, is almost 9, and somehow it's fun and psychedelic and just mind bending at certain points. It has a feature from Ta Ukrainka, who has an interesting guest verse done in Polish. And I am Polish, by the way, so I can understand what she's saying. It's like this curious telling of how she moved to Poland and how she felt left out because she is Ukrainian. And it's like, oh man, that's kind of sad. But then she asks Danny to make her feel better and tell her how to feel happiness again, and it just goes off the rails from there. He just does like an insane verse in the second half that's like at a breakneck pace that just makes my jaw drop every time, I swear. So yeah, Stardust, Danny Brown, a lot of things going into this album, but most of them are incredible and sticky and definitely worth checking out, in my opinion. Did you guys hear this album?
I may consider.
All right.
Consider 100%. Also, greetings from Cheshire.
Hi, Jason. That's cool. All right. Next up, Snooper Worldwide. In a lot of ways, this is similar to that Hives album I talked about earlier, but the track list is even shorter. It's less than 30 minutes, but still, there's a lot of punchy and electrifying songs that really stick themselves to the back of my brain very quickly. Like pretty much every song from Opt Out to Worldwide, the title track, is incredible to me. A lot of songs after that, like Hologram, Star 69, Blockhead, are pretty electrifying for sure. And there's a Beatles cover. A Beatles cover of all things, and it's still very loose, pretty left field, and I think pretty funny. It's just like 1.5 long. It's obviously the lowest song here because it's not taking itself seriously, but I think it's still a highlight in some ways. And yeah, this is just a very quick, snappy, to the point egg punk and garage punk album with a lot of fierce and fun songs to its name. Yeah. Did you guys hear this album? No, I see. Right. Next up is Billy Woods with an album title I will not be saying because it's a slur. So Billy Woods, he's been releasing albums for years, like every 1 or 2 years he will come out with something that's gonna turn heads in the underground hip hop scene in one way or another. And this is definitely one of his most successful and popular albums to date. When it came out, it was like you couldn't ignore it when you were around certain places and forums. Everyone wanted to give their own take on this album, and I think it's a pretty interesting change of pace from his usual stuff. It shares some commonalities with Ethiops and Maps, but for the most part, it's still like an unnerving, horror-core centric type of experience. Some songs are more motifs than they are legitimate songs. There's a lot of short songs and track lists that kinda meander around for a little while and then just dip out. And I'm not a huge fan of that approach usually, but thankfully Billy Woods made it stick with a lot of just descriptive lyricism, some of which is like very thought-provoking and kinda, how to say, dark. Yeah, dark. I would definitely say the lyricism on this album is dark and touching upon things that have plagued America for decades, if not centuries. This is one of those albums that's gonna require multiple listens to fully get it because it's doing some things that might not appeal to you or stand out at first, but then you listen to it for like the second or third time and it's like, man, this guy is spitting right now. That's the kind of album this is. So yeah, Billy Woods album title, very good album. Did you guys hear this album? All right. Okay, next up. Bon Iver, Sable, Fable. Bon Iver's previous album came out in 2019, so it's been quite a long time since he's released anything. However, he came back with one of his strongest and most consistently enjoyable set of songs ever. The first disc that came out in 2024 is filled up with 3 very intimate and quieting songs that are very powerful, their execution. They're not very lively, I guess you can say, but they're still effective at portraying his emotions and what he's been going through, like in his private life. Because, yeah, Justin Vernon is a very talented singer and songwriter, and he lets it shine on multiple songs on this album. The second disc isn't as consistent as the first one, the Sable side, but it's still pretty captivating and very catchy. The Dijon song is pretty fun. There's a rhythm. It's spelled weirdly, but that's the title. And everything is peaceful love. Those three songs are worth checking out for sure. Um, yeah, just 41 minutes, so no, it's not the longest album under the sun, and I think it's going to go down as one of the best art pop slash singer-songwriter albums of the entire year. That's what I wrote in that headline, and I still stand by it to this day. Did you guys hear this album? I guess not. You've been meaning to deep dive into his discography. Yeah, it's worth checking out, I think. I think For Emma is still his best album, but he has some great songs on his 2010s records, that's for sure. Alright, next up, it's Deerhoof, Noble and Godlike in the Ruin. Deerhoof is not a new band or anything. They've made albums ever since the 90s, and they have a very lo-fi and distorted sound going for them. Some of their albums are kind of unnerving, this one included. It's very short, 33-minute experience, and it's like strange but also kind of based at the same time. The lyrics deal in pretty understandable but also kind of cryptic concepts that you can unveil in your head while you're all listening to it, but if you're not, it will just like go over your brain and it's gonna sound like the most incoherent thing in existence, pretty much. However, I think it's a very consistently creative and catchy album with some of their best songs in a while. The closing song is 7 minutes long and it's like, oh, mind blowing. So my yeah. A few of these songs I could take or leave, but most of them are very imaginative and hard-hitting, in my opinion. So, yeah, it just adds up into a very captivating listen that I can't get enough of, even though I heard the album like, what, 5, 6 times by this point. It is very intriguing, I will say. Did you guys hear this album? Yeah, probably not. All right. We are like 14 songs into this list, 14 albums into this list, sorry. Next up, Ballonism by Mac Miller. This is a sad album. Not because it's like depressing, it's just sad because it had to be released posthumously by Mac's estate and not by him when he was alive. With that said, it's a very creative and explorative album with a ton of highlights on it. So many highlights, you would think it was it was made by a group or something. But no, Mike is doing all of this by himself most of the time. It's just it's just incredible to think that he was basically alone in the studio and putting these songs together to be left on an album that almost didn't get released until after he died. But that grim backstory aside, this is a very enjoyable, psychedelic, and catchy album with some songs that really touch my soul. The last song is almost 12 minutes, but it's still kind of hard to talk about because the progression from the start to the end is next level crazy. But most of the songs before that are manageable, are catchy, straightforward on some level, and yeah, I'll say catchy. This is a very catchy album that just gets better with every real listen. Definitely worth checking out. Did you guys hear this album? Hi Bon Iverfish. It was also one of those albums that dropped very early into the year, and it got a lot of attention out of the gate because there wasn't a ton of competition at the time. And yeah, it's still worth remembering even a year after it came out, I think. Alright, next up, Black Hole Superette by the one and only Aesop Rock. Aesop Rock is kind of a legend at this point. He's been around for so long and dropped so many classic albums that he could basically stop recording at this point, but he hasn't. And this is one of his best albums to date. The rapping is lively and catchy and captivating for multiple songs in the tracklist, and the writing is something to behold a lot of the time. Because his writing game is like very left field, very cryptic, but still kinda understandable in small doses, but he uses a ton of double entendres and strange references that will most likely overwhelm you no matter what. But yeah, for whatever reason, it's really captivating and exciting albums in a long time. I think it's even better than his last album, Integrated Solutions in 2023, which I did like at the time, but in retrospect, it did kind of grow. It shrunk on me a little bit because some songs felt kind of samey to a fault. Like some songs, like in this middle portion of the track list, just felt kind of disposable a little bit. But thankfully, that's not the case with this album. There's a ton of songs that I love and I could replay for ages. Definitely worth checking out if you're into abstract hip hop and conscious hip hop and that kind of stuff. Did you guys hear this album? Yeah, you haven't. I understand. Like, it's definitely a lot to take in, but I recommend at least like the first two, three, yeah, about three first songs are worth checking out just to see if you can vibe with the rest of it. Um, it's a lot of fun, I think. All right, next up is another abstract hip hop album. This time it's by two guys, Infinity Knives and Brian Ennals. Um, it's way shorter than the ASAP Rock album, but it's just like twice as unhinged. The songs here are very political, very in your face, almost hard to swallow at points as well. But it's really well done and thought provoking a lot of the time. Um, Brian's rapping is aggressive, but also kind of touching in several pockets. He's a very versatile, no, versatile spitter who can basically do anything and get away with it, even though he sounds ridiculous sometimes, I will say. Um, and Infinity Knives, this production chops are consistently punchy, exciting, and versatile in their own right. Um, Buggy is like the most explosive and nasty song I've heard in a long time, especially in the hip hop field. It's somehow more murderous and bloodthirsty than the recent 21 Savage album. Like, this song alone blows the recent 21 Savage album out of the water easily. A lot of songs around that aren't as grimy, but they're still very fun and memorable for their own reasons. This title track is like over 7 minutes long, and it's like part metal, part atmospheric post rock music that just blows my mind every time I listen to it, but it's still really well done. And yeah, most of these songs are very good. They definitely leave a mark on me by the time it's over, and that's really all I could ask for. Did you guys hear this album? You haven't. I get it. You know, it probably went over everyone's heads when it came out, but I think it's still worth coming back to, even to this day. They call out Netanyahu and Elon Musk on the opening song alone, and it's just hilarious, I will say. Uh, yeah. Next up, spelling Portrait of My Heart. This was a pretty polarizing album. Not everyone that heard it loved it, which is fine. It's definitely a change of pace from her 2021 album, which was universally beloved and still gets quite a bit of praise to this day. It's a very lush album with just insanely good vocals throughout that I would highly recommend. This follow-up album, because this isn't a real album, this was a cover album of her previous stuff with a new band, so it's like almost an album but not really. So this is the follow-up to what was it called again? The Turning, and it's going into an alternative rock direction. However, I still think it's very enchanting and beautiful throughout. It's 40 minutes. There is a lot of good songs here, some of which are more hard hitting than others, but most of them are like blissful as hell. And what else can I say? Like, her voice is just so good. That's that it can just like left me speechless every time I hear one of her songs. And she uses that to the best of her abilities on most of the songs on this album. A few of which I would honestly say are just as good as anything on the Turning Wheel. The opening title track as well as the closing sometimes are just mind blowing to me. And yeah, I would say it's definitely worth checking out. Did you guys hear this album? Or you haven't? Yeah, I see you, It's fine, but I think it's worth celebrating more than it. What? My brain is shutting down. What am I even saying? I think it got some undeserved slack, and people underrated it because it wasn't what they were expecting. That, in my opinion. Yeah. All right. Next up, Nina Girachi. I Love My Computer. Man, this album was a banger. This album was a banger and a half. I didn't expect anything going into it because it's just a new album. I didn't hear this mixtape or any of her previous EPs, so this was my first introduction to this Australian producer and singer-songwriter, and this album's crazy good. It's got just visceral, punchy, but sticky beats throughout its 12 songs. The lyrics and the vocals are cute as hell, and yeah, it's just fun to listen to. That's all you need to know. It's pulling from a lot of 2010s type of electronic dance music production, but it's done tastefully well throughout, and there are some minor missteps in terms of the effects and the grooves kind of losing me after a while, but most of them are very well put together and exciting in their execution. I wouldn't say there's like a single skip that I hated here. Just most of them are satisfying for their own unique reasons, and yeah, definitely an artist worth following into the future, because I think this artist has a lot of things going for them musically and aesthetically, judging from this album alone. And yeah, the lyrics are touching upon technology and their relationship with humans. It's a pretty ambitious album in that way, but it can still be enjoyed just like as a collection of bangers, pretty much. I think that's everything I have to say about it. Did you guys hear it? Yeah, I think you would enjoy this. It's got that very catchy, straightforward, and um, just in your face, in your face kind of production, but it doesn't feel corny on any level. So it's pretty much perfect in that regard. All right, next up, Viagra Boys, Viagra Boys. Man, this album was insane. One of the most insane albums of the year, honestly. Um, these guys have been around for, I don't know, about a decade at this point. They've dropped some very experimental and daring albums for their own reasons, but this is probably one of their most um, accessible albums on some level, while still being left field and just weird throughout. It's just 37 minutes. It's got a lot of punch to it. There is a lot of sticky hooks throughout. Some songs like Store Policy, Best in Show, and River King, as well as the single You Know Too. That one's kind of boring. Those songs I could take or leave, but everything else sticks the landing in terms of hooks, lyricism, very electrifying instrumentals, and Sebastian Murphy's vocals, which are uh, pretty hilarious, but also very charismatic at the same time. Definitely one of the most fun and exciting punk albums of the entire year. Did you guys hear this album? No. Yeah, I get it, I will say, this album is borderline gross at points. Sebastian literally burps on several songs, including the opening Made of Meat. But it doesn't come across as vomit inducing as much as it is like tongue in cheek and just hilarious in execution, which I love. Yeah, that's everything I have to say about that. Next up, Jid, God Does Like Ugly. Jid's tongue twister. Jid's last album, The Forever Story, was so good, so successful, and just so well received by most of his fans that it was like he could do no wrong after it came out. And everyone thought it was gonna be just as good. Whatever he came out with. Everyone thought his follow-up would be just as good as what he dropped previously, but sadly no, it's not on that same level. It's just like a very solid and consistently enjoyable pop rap album with a lot of variety throughout. But for me, that's more than enough. That's more than enough for mainstream hip hop in the current day and age, which is also pretty thrown together and messy in the worst ways possible. However, Jid's album is actually well put together for the most part. Most of his songs are fun, are punchy and memorable for their own reasons. A lot of good features on here as well, from the likes of West Side Gun, Clips, Vince Staples, and others. A few songs in the middle I could take or leave. What We On and Nobu, for example. but most of them are captivating, are thought-provoking as well, because he dives into burping right now. I mentioned burping on the Viagra Boys album, and now I'm hicking up a little. Sorry about that. He mentions some pretty urgent political topics on a few of these songs. He sounds hella aggressive on songs like Community when he talks about that kind of stuff, and it's very it's very like attention grabbing while he does it, I would say. Did you guys hear this album? Oh, Headset has. So has Minurami. That's cool. You guys want to say anything about it? I'm losing my voice.
I think that some of the songs that you talked about, like in the middle, I think that some of them are honestly like overhated. Like What We On, I actually really like. I know that it's like weird a little bit, and it's kind of like an outlier in the track list, but I really like. I'm a huge Don Toliver fan, so I think that that song's pretty good. That's pretty much all I have to say.
Alright, I understand. You know, when I put it on, I don't hate it. It's kind of a vibe, but it does just feel like the tiniest bit generic in comparison to some of the songs that excite me a little more. But yeah, still, it's a vibe. I don't hate it. In short, this album is awesome and worth checking out just for the fact that it's very consistent and kind of creative throughout. Next up, Tyler Childers' Snipe Hunter. This was another album that didn't get a ton of attention this year. However, I still think it's one of the more respectable country albums of the entire year. It was produced by Rick Rubin, of all people, believe it or not. The guy who produced albums for System of a Down, Eminem, BC Boys. Yeah, he came in and produced this album that most people probably haven't heard. But he did a really good job with this album. These songs are really raw, very fierce in their execution, and it only helps that Tyler Childers also sounds hella hungry with his voice and lyrics throughout. He sings about a lot of stuff, honestly. Some of it is tongue-in-cheek, like on Biden list, but most of them are pretty down-to-earth, captivating, and pretty powerful, honestly. I don't have too many complaints other than that some of the songs later on kind of get repetitive and I guess predictable on some level, I will say. But with that said, this is still a very enjoyable and memorable listen that I will be coming back to from time to time, for sure. You guys probably haven't heard that one. Yeah, I can see that in chat. You guys haven't. That's alright. You know, I don't expect everyone to hear everything because I haven't. But I like to check out everything that could be good to see if it is. And this actually was. yeah. All right. Navy Blue, The Sword and the Soul. This came out very late into the year, in November pretty much. Uh, and at first I wasn't crazy about it because it's like a very moody and chill and slightly forgettable abstract hip hop album. Um, I usually like albums that have a little more bite, a little more exciting, I guess. But what won me over is Navy Blue's delivery and his writing style, which are both um, heavenly and very touching during this album's runtime. So while this is not a very fun album, it's still a very compelling album in a different sense. You get a very thorough dive into his upbringing, into his personal relationships, and how he views the world in general. He has a lot to say, and he knows how to say it in a way that will resonate with his audience, and does it over pretty harmonious and heavenly beats that will probably age better than most hip hop albums that dropped this year. Um, there is a lot of good songs in the track list. Um, some of which, like Sunlight of the Spirit and Fight On, I can kinda take or leave, but most of them are very engaging and passionate, that in ways that I can respect, I guess. And the feature from Errol Sweatshirt is one of his best in a long time. I like his feature a lot. I guess you guys didn't hear it yet since you said that in chat. You know, it's kind of a slow burn, I will say, but it's still impactful at the end of the day. I think it's gonna go down as one of the best hip hop albums of the year, for sure. All right, next up. Oh, this one's a banger. Miley Cyrus, Something Beautiful. Man, this was a good album. Everything good about it is pretty much right there in your face. Miley singing, beautiful. The instrumentals, mystical, otherworldly, pretty creative at points while still being accessible throughout. And yeah, there's a lot of good songs in the track list. It gets pretty out there after a certain point, but it doesn't feel like she's doing something randomly or like just for the hell of it. There's a lot of purposeful songwriting on this thing, and I guess she's just in her element on this thing. I think that's all I have to say about it. Have you guys heard this? All right. That's cool. Minurami says they loved it. I believe them. All right. Next up, De La Soul, Cabin in the Sky. Man, what a comeback! Mass Appeal was on a huge run this year, releasing albums from Nas, Ghostface Killah, and Mobb Deep, which are artists that have their own legacy and just a lot of name recognition in the hip hop scene that will never go out of style, I think. And De La Soul is one of them. This is a very long track list, which might scare some people. However, I think the quality is there. I think the remaining members of the band, because one of them died, sadly, do a great job at bringing back their old energy with a new approach to lyricism and hooks and instrumentals. And yeah, there's a lot of variety here, a lot of solid, passionate performances, and yeah, just fun vibes. This is a very fun album through and through, with some pretty touching topics handled on relationships and death and legacy in ways that might resonate with younger folks who haven't heard their first studio albums that they are mainly known for at this point. Did you guys hear this album? De La Soul have some amazing stuff in their catalog. Oh, you have. Do you want to say anything about it? It's hard to describe it, but it felt very much in tune with 90s hip hop. Yeah, there's like a very carefree and I guess high on life type of energy coming through the band's rapping and all that. And just a very satisfying album all around, I think. Okay, next up is Natalia Lafourcade with Cancionera. This was an album sung in Spanish, so I didn't understand everything that was sung about here, but it did still feel very captivating and passionate throughout. There is 12 original songs in the tracklist and 2 covers, I think, or just stripped back versions to their um, acoustic versions, acoustic recording, more like. And anyway, on this album, Natalia Lafourcade just sings into her microphone very beautifully throughout. The instrumentals are lush and layered and kind of sweet. Yeah, I would say sweet. This is a pretty sweet album. Um, most of these songs are kind of slow, I will say. Not the highest or most exciting album you're ever gonna hear, but still, giving these songs a chance will reveal a lot of beautiful and captivating performances that will never go out of style. Maybe a few of these, like Amor Clandestino, are a skip, but for the most part, Natalia is in her bag, bring that passionate and very well-rounded blend of chamber folk and bolero and traditional folk music styles like no one else can. Did you guys hear this album? No? Alright. I think it's worth checking out. Alright, next up, FK Twigs. Eu Shixiao. Eu Suxa. Eu Sexu. Sexy. Anyway. This was a pretty strange album cycle for FK Twigs. It was like her most obvious attempt at a straightforward pop record while still being left field and kind of quirky with it. There's 11 songs in the track list. It runs out to a very solid and consistent 42-minute experience. She dabbles in a lot of Y2K aesthetics this time around, and they are very well done this time around. And I said this time around twice. They are very well done for one track after another. Her vocals are stunning, obviously, but so are the instrumentals behind her, especially on songs like Striptease or the title track or Perfect Stranger. Easily some of the best pop songs of the entire year. This track list is good, you know. However, I think it was improved upon with the reissue where it was changed up a bit. The final song was removed and replaced with Lonely But Exciting Road, which I think is perfect. It's just that goddamn good. And yeah, I think if this was released instead of the original, it would place somewhere in the top 10. But as is, the original Eusexia is at what was it? Fits at number 24 on my list. Do you guys want to say anything about it that I haven't already? You don't have anything? Alright. I explained pretty well. Well, thank you. I'm trying. All right. So continuing on. Next up, we got Gabi Amarantos with Rock Doido. Doido. God damn it. Anyway, this is a very playful, exciting, um, over the top, and energetic album that might sound like the most random thing ever at first, but the deeper you get into it, it just becomes this thrilling experience that you can't get enough of. Most of these songs are very short, like 1 minute long sometimes, but nearly all of them are memorable and sticky and just vibrant at their core. Uh, there is one song, maybe it was this one, that samples Somebody That I Used to Know by Gautier, and I'm not kidding, and it's just crazy to hear that in a new new album that doesn't give a flying fuck if it's alienating anyone, because this is a very bombastic album at points. Uh, but man, is it fun! It's fun, it's colorful, and definitely worth checking out. Also, Gaby Amarantos's vocals are fucking expressive as hell. She's like screaming her brains out on certain tracks, but also like a beautiful singer on other tracks. So it's a very varied experience as well. Uh, did you guys hear this album? Alright, you haven't. I get it. I think it's gonna go down as one of the most exciting albums for of the year for me personally. Yeah, it's under 40 minutes and it's 22 songs in total, which is crazy to think about. All right. Where is, oh, there it is. Next up is The Film by Sumac and More Mother. Man, what an album! This album, like, gets under my skin at several points. I'm not gonna lie. This is one of the most unnerving and captivating albums that I've heard all year. Um, More Mother is pretty, I don't know, underground, hard to find anything about type of artist. She hides in the shadows and she only appears when she needs to. And her new album slash collaboration with Sumac, which is another band that keep doing their own thing, regardless if it alienates anyone. Um, they came together for this lengthy um, kind of explorative experience, or rather set of tracks that never truly resolve until like the very end. The last song is over 16 minutes long, but it somehow ends up being very hopeful by the very end, and I'm kind of speechless. Yeah, everything good about it is pretty much right there in your face. You don't need to like um, think about it super hard as you're listening to it because it's scratching a lot of emotional itches while it's on, and I think it's pretty effective at what it's doing. Yeah, the genre tag is poetry and atmospheric sludge metal. I understand not everyone will be into it, but I was. It's a very powerful album, in in short. Have you guys heard this album? You haven't? Yeah, I get it. I get it. Well, if you're interested, I would suggest checking it out because it's pretty out there, but it sticks the landing for sure. All right. Uh, 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 uh. Oh, this one is a banger. The Passionate Ones by Nourished by Time. Yeah. Um, I wasn't anticipating this album before it came out. It just kind of came out of nowhere, and I only found out about it because it appeared on the main page, and Fantano reviewed this at a certain point, like after a week, after it, like like a week after it came out or something. Yeah. Oh, bye headset. They left. Mm-mm-mm-mm. So yeah, this album um, uh, was 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 my first introduction to this guy's music, and man, he smashed my expectations into a billion pieces. Every song on here is this left field and spacious, kind of creative piece of alternative R&B with crazy good vocals and hypnagogic pop and bedroom pop production that I can't get enough of. Um, I would say it gets a little um, cumbersome when it comes to Crazy People and Tossed Away. I think those two songs are skips, but other than that, this album is fire, fire, fire. Some of the best R&B songs I've heard all year pretty much land on this thing. I remember you checking this thing out like last month or last week or something, and yeah, this was a great album. I agree. Um, I hope this guy makes many more albums like this into the future because they will just probably be the best albums of those years whenever they came out as well. Ugh, my brain is fried. I've been talking for over an hour at this point, and it's getting kind of tiresome. Hmm. I think I'm gonna end it here, you know. Maybe I'll finish it tomorrow because it's Sunday. People are gonna come by maybe by then. So yeah, I'm ending the stream here. Thanks to anyone who came